Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another FX tutorial. I'll be teaching you all how to reveal text and also make it disappear behind certain objects in After Effects. There will be two scenarios shown. The first one utilizes a stationary object while the camera is moving forward. As the clip goes on, a string of text slowly appears from the side of the building into the middle of the screen. The second scenario uses a stationary camera and utilizes a moving object to reveal and also make text disappear. Let's get started. So the clip shown right now is the original footage that was shot. I will call this layer the unmasked footage. Another copy of the layer will be made and renamed the masked footage. Up next is our text layer. I will be using the Boombox 2 font and typing my ending catchphrase, "New adventures ahead." So I want the text to look and be positioned a certain way by the end of the clip, so I'll just make quick adjustments to its size here. Good. Now I just need it to be a bit more readable. Gonna add in a drop shadow effect here from Effects and Presets. And we're good to go. Next, I'm gonna put the text layer right between our masked and unmasked layers. Before we start our masking, the quality mode must be set to full. Alright, now double click the masked footage layer and select the rotoscope tool up above. So essentially this tool works just like Photoshop's quick selection tool. Depending on the footage you have, this tool may do an amazing job selecting and masking the object you want on screen. Two quick tips before we start. By holding down the control key and left click of the mouse and also moving that mouse up or down, you'll be able to change the rotoscope brush size. Next, by default, selection is chosen indicated by the green circle. Hold down the Alt button to use deselection when needed. So I want the text to appear from the side of this building from the left, strictly from the middle area, so I will only need to worry about masking from that middle area and above. Alright, for the most part, it selected what I wanted. It helps to have stable footage that has objects with clear color differences on screen. So now I'm going to have to use that Alt button to deselect the masked buildings in the background. The next part has us expanding this gray track here that has arrows. Since I'm masking this building from the beginning to the end, I'll expand it to the end of the timeline. Also, there's 3 toggle switches down here that shows you different ways on what you have selected. You guys can play around with the rotoscope settings. I just made random adjustments to see if it'll help. The next important step is to head back to the gray track. I definitely recommend only rendering a few frames forward. By doing this, you'll be able to catch masking mistakes the rotoscope tool might do. So right now, it looks like by having the camera move forward, we get new glimpses of that background building we don't need. Unfortunately, the rotoscope tool picked it up. There will be multiple deselections as we move forward with the rendering. So after I make my adjustments, I will continue to go a few frames further. Another reason why you should only go a few frames forward is that if you see a mistake at the last frame that was rendered, go back a few frames to see if there was any more mess ups like I'm doing right now. You'll need to fix the problem as soon as it appears, or you will have to go back to that frame and will be forced to render everything forward from that frame again. After Effects takes up a lot of RAM, so save often. The program may crash on you out of nowhere. I basically repeat these steps until I get to the very last frame. From rendering a few frames forward, checking back a few frames to make sure there weren't any screw-ups that'll force me to backtrack, and fixing any masking mistakes I see. I don't focus too much around the rest of the mask, only where I want the text to be hidden and where it comes out. I specifically chose this clip because it shows how hard it can be to work with when several of the objects on screen have colors that ultimately blend with each other. The next scenario shows a much easier premise. Alright, so after you're done masking and rendering to the last frame, click the freeze button here to fully render that mask completely. This may take a while depending on your hardware. Finally, we can get back to our original composition. So as you guys can see, it masked out the word new. It's unable to be seen as I play the clip forward, but the objective here is to have the text reveal itself, so let's start that animation. Click the arrow to the text layer to expand it, and then click the arrow next to transform. we will be using the position property and keyframing the time it will show. Make sure to click on the clock icon. This part is very easy. I want the text to be hidden from view in the beginning, so I will simply change the position variable to move it behind the mask. Next, I will head over to the last frame and position it to the middle of the screen. When the clock icon is ticked, every time you make a new variable adjustment on a certain property, you'll see a blue keyframe indicating where that change happens. Depending on how far that recent keyframe is from the last keyframe, that will either make the animation slow or fast. Some additional keyframes later, and this becomes our final clip. Alright, awesome work guys. Let's move on to the second scenario. So our text here will be stationary, and with the help of a moving object, aka the genesis, it will help us make it disappear. As for our layers, I'll be making the same 3 that was seen in the beginning. The unmasked footage is layer 3, the masked footage is layer 1, and finally our text right between the two. So one of the main differences we will have here is that we are going to want to make sure our text fits right inside the width and length of the car, so our text can be fully covered. Moving forward, the quality mode is set to full again, then our mask footage layer is double clicked on. So I'm going to start the masking right before the car hits the ending letter. You guys will see that with this clip, the rotoscope tool does a better job tracking this particular object. The thing that mostly matters here is that I will mainly need that middle section of the car to be masked, so any other parts that the rotoscope picks up is no big deal. I'm going to expand the gray track again and render a few frames forward and catch any mistakes I see until the end. Alright, we made it to the end. Let's hit that freeze button. Let's go back to our original composition. As I play it, you can't see the text in the first few seconds because there's no mask there. I will adjust that clip until we actually need it to play. So yet again, it came out just the way I wanted. Our final part of the scenario here, all we are doing is simply revealing the text using the genesis again. I want to do a crash course here to finalize what we learned in full motion. Enjoy the speedrun! Thanks again for watching my latest tutorial. I'm hoping these concepts gave you guys more creative ways to edit text in your future videos. I recommend filming stable scenes that have objects with clear distinction in colors to make this whole process easier. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Alright, as always, happy editing.